Has this ever happened to you? If you've ever faced any of those scenarios while you're camping or overlanding, you know just how frustrating they can be. I think we've come up with a pretty awesome solution to help get your food organized, secure, and nice and dry. I'd like to introduce you guys to the Ridgid Tool Organizers. This is what we use for our pantry, and I'd like to talk to you guys about how we use it, how we set it up, and what we like about it, and some of the things that we don't necessarily love about it, but man, it is such a great solution that you can go get right now at your local Home Depot for not a lot of money. We're talking about $30 per piece. So what we were using prior to using the Ridgid toolbox system for our pantry was a reusable grocery bag, and as fine as that was, it just created a bunch of problems for us. It allowed dirt and moisture into the bag since we don't have a closed-in cab here. It allowed easy access for the critters. It would pour all over the truck bed while we were off-roading and trying to get to our campsite. The bread would be smushed, the chips would be crushed, and it just wasn't a good situation to keep our food that way for long term. And we knew that when we were hitting the trail for these longer periods, like 4, 5, 6, 7 days, we needed a better option. We needed a way that was weatherproof. We needed a way that kept the critters out. We needed a way that would protect the food that we have and keep the cardboard in good shape, the bread whole, and the chips not crushed, and things like that to keep the family happy and fed. So knowing that those are the things we wanted to do, that brought us to our final solution here, and that's our pantry setup with the Ridgid toolboxes. And man, it's just a cool option. They're super customizable, they're stackable, they're weatherproof, they're shockproof. They don't weigh a whole lot, but they hold a fair amount of food. Keeps it out of the hands of the critters for the most part. I mean, a bear is going to get in if a bear wants to get in, but it'll keep the raccoons and the squirrels out for sure. And it keeps our bread whole and our chips not crushed, and just an awesome setup. So I want to show you exactly how we're using them and how we set it up, and maybe this is a good solution for you guys. And I just checked on the Home Depot website the day this is filming. They're $30. That's a pretty good, reasonable price for something that's shockproof, weatherproof, and a little bit critterproof to keep not only food in, but any of your options in. And they don't take up a whole lot of room. So let's dive in. All right, so I think the perfect place to start is talking about the main component of our pantry. And this is the Ridgid Pro Gear toolbox. It's 22 inches long, about 12 inches wide, about 12 inches high. So portability wise, it'll fit just about anywhere. It weighs 10 pounds empty. It'll hold 1,384 cubic inches of food for you math nerds. That's not me. I don't really know what that translates to for canned goods, but it'll hold a fair amount in here. It's made of really strong, rugged plastic. It's weatherproof. It's got a seal on the inside that I can show you. So we have this orange gasket that goes all the way around, so it's dustproof and waterproof. So it'll keep your food nice and dry and out of the hands of the critters. It's got a padded handle. This folds down. What I really like about all these systems is they're linkable, and I'll show you that here in a second. But you can stack about as many of these as you want to. It's going to get a little out of control if you keep going, but we stack our basket underneath, and that links together to make one solid pack. I do say this will hold about 50 pounds worth of food. That seems like a lot of food, but we are a family of 4, and we did a 4-day trip. And this system held all our dry goods perfectly with some room to spare. Like I showed before, all those scenarios happened to us. We had food all over the back, we had crushed chips and bread, and using this allows us to mitigate those things altogether. So let's pop this thing open, I'll show you guys the inside. The box itself is held shut really securely by these latches. They're not hard to hold, but they do a really good job of keeping the box nice and securely shut. When we pop this thing open, we're faced with the first organizer. This is removable. We use it to hold our spices, some tin foil, some of our utensils and knives back there, and this comes right out. You don't have to run it with it, but we choose to kind of keep some more organization going on here. All right, so keep in mind we're not on a trip, so this isn't packed the way that it normally would be, but inside here we just have a bunch of our boil in a bag, mountain house type meals, things like that. They're just kind of being stored in here for a little while until our next trip. But this is where we pack our canned goods. We pack some of these mountain house type foods for standby, and just whatever meals we're making, our potatoes or onions, things like that, all get stored in here, as well as our utensils like I showed you before. And there is plenty of room to do that for a family of 4 for at least 4 nights out. If you're gonna go for more nights, maybe some different options might need to be looked at, but I think you could do probably a week if you're a careful packer in this. But this is how we store the bulk of our food, and then I'll show you how we store our bread and our chips and things like that here in a second. So this is the Ridgid basket. It is the same width and length as the toolbox itself. As you can see, it kind of looks like a milk crate. It's got some holes in it. This is what we use to store our chips, our bread, some of our softer items, our coffee. Not waterproof, as you can see, not weatherproof and dustproof, but it does a really good job actually of keeping the elements out. And you can see not a whole lot of dirt in here, more dirt on the outside here. So I'm pretty impressed with this. And this is stackable, like I said, and I'll show you that stuff here in a second, but this allows our bread not to get crushed. It's able to keep a lot of the critters out. And it's just a really good system to organize your softer dry goods. So they're not hanging out in the cooler. They're not in a grocery bag getting crushed in the back of the truck bed or anything like that. It keeps it out of the cab. And this allows us to just kind of link our pantry up together and hold on to those things all in one spot. Now it's made of the same high quality impact resistant resin plastic that the other toolboxes are made from. So it's gonna hold up really well. It flexes a little bit, but man, it'll take a beating, I'm sure. It kind of already has, you can see it on the other toolbox. So the other toolbox is about 12 inches high. This itself is a little over 9 inches high. So when you link them together, it does make kind of a tall package. And you don't necessarily have to link these two together. These come in all different. The toolbox that I showed you before is considered the medium toolbox. There's a small organizer, and then there's also a large toolbox with wheels. So you can adapt the system to however you want to do it. But this has turned out really great for us. All right, so I bet you're wondering, you keep talking about linking it together. So how do we link these together? They both have them, but you can see that they have these on the side. These could be handles. They're rubber gripped and they're nice. But this is how we're going to link our system together. So what we do is you see that these are stackable and they fit almost perfect. Hopefully this is in frame for you guys. But they fit almost perfect. And we have these tongue and groove type systems here where we can put these up and link them together. And there's one on each side. You see how nicely those link together? And now we have one complete package. We have some top cover for our dry goods down here. Kind of seals it off a little bit. And it allows us to just pack this away in the back of the truck bed as one complete package. Only one thing to worry about, only one thing to pull out when we get to camp and start cooking. So the other thing we can do is we can keep going, right? We can link on top, and you can get the small type organizer for the top of this. You could run your spices, your utensils and things like that up here, and you'd still have the ability to link it up top. We can link top and bottom, and that would give you an even more complete pantry system. Now we start getting a little taller, a little bit more bulky. In the truck bed or the Gladiator, not a big deal, but if you're running a Wrangler, I can see where you might want to keep this a little compact. It is our intention to run a few more of these for our clothes and things like that. Like I said, super accessible. You could go down to your Home Depot right now, unless it's like 1 a.m. and then you should be in bed anyway. But you should be able to go down to your Home Depot, pick one of these up for $30, and you're off to the races. And that's in fact what we did. We were getting ready to go on the Florida Adventure Trail, but we were packing our reusable grocery bag, and man, it was just a mess. And we just decided right in that moment that there's got to be a better way. And I had seen these on YouTube and a little bit of the Facebook pages we follow, and I thought that it might be interesting and a good option for us. And I'm so glad that we pulled the trigger on them, because this is the moneymaker for us. This is where our money's at, and it has allowed us to just protect and keep our food organized in such a clean, packable way that I don't know what we were doing before. For the last 3 or 4 years, we've kind of taken a misstep on our food storage, and this is where it's at. So a little backstory: when we stay in Ocala, it's kind of bear country, black bear country. We take this package full of food and we stash it 500 yards from the campsite. I was kind of worried about it to see, if the critters could get in and things like that. And so far, nothing has penetrated this. I don't know if any bears have tried to enter the buffet at all, but it's a little scratched up. I'm not sure if it's from the truck or critters. Did a good job keeping our food nice and protected, and we had it for the morning breakfast without any issues. So something to consider. Like I said, these come in different sizes. They get the small type organizer, the medium, the basket, and the large. And the large has wheels, so you can wheel it around depending on your scenario. Challenge you and encourage you to stop using the reusable grocery bags and maybe some of the other systems, and give this one a try and explore this option. Weatherproof, solid, impact resistant. You can't go wrong for $30. We are not affiliated with Ridgid in any way. This is not an endorsement of their company. They don't sponsor us. They didn't give us these. We bought these with our own money. We've really enjoyed using these. So we talked about some of the things that we may not necessarily enjoy about this system, and they've kind of loosened up, but these were really, really tight to get on and off when we first got this system, and it took a lot of force. And even for me, I had to use my boot and kick it sometimes to get it in there and to get it off. So if you're not very strong or struggle with that, this may be something to try out in the store, is try to link up the two that you're buying to make sure that they link up nicely and you don't struggle with that. It may just be some manufacturing issues when it came out, because they're not all perfect, right? But as you work it, it might get looser. You can see how much force that took to get that out. But some other ones may be a little easier to link up and disengage. So it might be worth trying at the store before you pull the trigger and buy them. We didn't, and so now we're struggling with that a little bit. But that's just one minor issue. We're getting through it, not a big deal. And another possible con to running this system, depending on the vehicle you're driving, is that when these are linked up, they're a little under 22 inches tall. So that's a lot of space vertically that you have to account for. 22 inches long, again, a lot of space that you have to account for. The footprint's a little big, but I think that that's negatable depending on what you're packing and how you're packing, what you're packing it in. For us, those footprints are not a big deal, and we could even go one taller and still be okay. But then we get a little top heavy and things get weird. But that could be a possible con, is the size of these. But it also could be a pro depending on what you're trying to do. Only you can make that decision. All right, well, that's it. That's how we went from using a reusable grocery bag to our Ridgid toolboxes here for a pantry system, and we couldn't be happier. We're so happy we made this jump, and I encourage you to explore this as an option as well. And there's plenty of options out there, but I think this one, with how inexpensive it is, how accessible it is, you don't have to mail order anything. You can go get them right now. You can try them out, and you can fit them in the back of your vehicle in almost no time at all. Our food has been protected. We've had no issues. And like I said, 3 different sizes. You should be able to make a system that matches exactly what you need. And I've seen people mount these to the top of their roof racks, especially the smaller ones. I'm not exactly sure how that's done. It's an option that you might want to explore, but currently we don't have it mounted like that. But I think that there is probably some ways to do that. I hope you find this to be helpful and useful in helping you build out your kit and develop more confidence as you go out there for longer and longer trips, and have the ability to pack and pare down and make good decisions for the things that you're bringing. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this type of stuff. Share it with your friends and pass it along. We're trying to build a community to give back to y'all, and hopefully we're doing that. Feel free to drop it down in the comments below, and if you have other suggestions or other things that you found that works with this, and maybe you found a better solution, we want to hear about it. I'll link these items in the description below. Like I said, Ridgid not affiliated with. We don't get any kickback if you buy them. None of that. It's just helpful for you guys, and we enjoy that. Hey, I can't wait to see you guys on the trail.